And in fact, the advantage of Pascal and Delphi is that there are thousands of libraries, components, and others that exist. Since for 27 years, quite a few people have used them and continue to use them. And so, we have plenty of things available in open source or for purchase. And they're especially provided with the environment. For those who have paid licenses, we also have other types of forms. We can really have fun doing whatever we want. Obviously, we can redraw our stuff directly. As a drawing on an area, we can place an image and draw in the bitmap of the image. Is there a Delphi library for drawing like SDL to avoid embedding the graphical components of the Windows scenario SDL as a port? Pascal? There are plenty of games that use it, generally old games that use SDL, which is a graphical library in C, directly accessible. In practice in Delphi, on the VCL, these are Windows devices. Basically, if we want to draw, we place a form, we add an image component or a paint box, and then we do our drawing in our code if we want. It works very well. Or, actually here if I put... Anyway, I have a bitmap, so we can do it on this one. If I click on this, I can make a... It's a T-circle, so it's a circle 1 by default. Point. Bitmap. No, it was fill bitmap. So here I go to the background, I retrieve some, the bitmap, which is the somewhat special thing. So this one I've never understood why it was called bitmap, but anyway. And so my bitmap I can... There we go, point canvas. Point begin. Try. And so here I've locked access to the canvas, and as a result I can indulge in performing standard drawing operations directly on it. So we have draw, we have fill, well, empty, or filled drawing with the basic stuff. So here, for example, in my thing I want to make a rectangle. A rectangle with coordinates, so rectf, it's a rectf from 0, 0. Circle 1 with on 2, circle 1 point height on 2. Then let's say the radius, let's say 10, 10 for fun, the T-corner. So, T-corners. I'll set an empty set. Opacity, let's say it will be half opaque. There we go. And hop 0.5. In decimal, I got it. So what does that give us? Yes, however, I'm in the game, so that's not going to work. I'm going to create a new program on the side. New project. Multi-device, empty applications. I've attached the unit I just made. So I save that. I go into project. Here. There, I'm going to use it. Hop unit here. So I'm on it. So now normally I have my program with a single form, and it should execute this form. Yeah, save yourself there if you want. And the group at the root too, because it will be discarded later. So now, if I click normally, the problem is since it's a bitmap, it won't display the thing for me because it refreshes the screen. I'm going to put a second thing on the screen. Or maybe it's because I haven't changed the circles. There you go. So we're going to do it on the 2. Now obviously we can rename them with something else. Here it's just because by default it takes the name of the component and adds a number behind it. Hop, hop. And so it's the 2 on the size and we want to be consistent. F9. Will I need to add a color or not? He doesn't like it. He doesn't like it because I didn't... Yes, that's normal. I didn't put it back in bitmap, so obviously. Obviously, it's not going to work, so I'm going to do it directly on the component's canvas. So we're no longer on circle, we're on this. Yeah, well, he messed it up there, instead of putting it in the right place. But in any case, correct. It's suspicious. We can draw the things we want. Quite easily, actually. And in the graphics library series, on Mac, we can use Metal or the default library, which was historically Quartz. Otherwise it was OpenGL, which is integrated, and otherwise there is also Skia. There you go, it's better to show it that way. What there is, with the open source library, which was originally created by Google for Chrome, is that it's used by many people, and now, for a year, it has had the means to integrate it into Delphi. And there, for example, the waves we see on the screen, it's a shader generated by a Delphi program overall. So we can really do everything. With the link to the... Oh, this is a presentation that was made on Wednesday, so I took advantage of it. There's the replay on my channel. Well, yes, there's the replay on my channel. Otherwise, you have to check the link I just put in the chat, which leads to this page and displays the thing. But here, basically, it's in 4K, and it moves the waves with the mouse. So, in real time. Obviously, you need a good graphics card for that, but on my 11-year-old Mac, it wasn't very efficient. However, on the Mac Mini, by enabling Metal, it worked well. So, it was quite efficient. Well, the Mac Mini M1, I should specify it's from last year, so naturally, it's efficient. I am going to read other graphics stuff. Yes, demo. Yep. Demo. In the video game series. It's true that I had the video here. Oh no, it's on the other scene, never mind. So here, a simple brick breaker, also using the library, so naturally, he had a bit of fun. And here, in this case, I used vector stuff and animated shapes. So you can do quite funny things with this kind of tools behind. But well, the advantage of Pascal is that you can interface with any library regardless of the language behind it. Provided, of course, that you have a Del or a Detso, or called anything, depending on the OS. So Delphi allows us to do that. There you go. Just one last thing about that. Last summer I did a presentation on this, so there's a training of about 60 hours on programming in Delphi, and there were presentation sessions of the environment. It was quick, while it was short, so 1 to 2 hours per thing. In the end, I developed a brick breaker, similarly using just the forms, and then some Android stuff and things like that, so if you want to take a look, it's possible. And on serialstreamer.fr, where I put all the replays of my streams, I had done something then. Game engine. No. Video game. Anyway, in any case, it's at the end. It's definitely at the end. It was December. There you go. So here, this is a bit about how I use the cross-platform framework provided with Delphi and FireMonkey to make video games, and how we can use it in the best general way. So, a little presentation with a GitHub repository that I developed last year on the order of the action site that I continued to evolve, with lots of small examples of things we do in games, and so how to do it in Delphi and FireMonkey. There you go. Knowing that Delphi has a free version called the Community Edition. There is also Lazarus in open source, Lazarus IDE. If you want to test it, you can download the Community Edition. For personal use, very limited commercial use, not to exceed $5,000 of annual budget. So needless to say, when starting a small business, when freelancing, you can potentially use it initially. Afterwards, if you really have income, you need to switch to the paid versions, but that allows you to do plenty of small things for yourself quite quickly.